Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of new products launches, and we've got a really good mix of products in here. We've got some Rhode Skincare, some Makeup by Mario, some r.e.m beauty, Chanel, Danessa, Myricks. So it's going to be a full face of all these products in action so you can see the way they apply and how I like to use them. So I'm going to get started off with skin prep. I will zoom you in so you can see the textures of these a little bit nicer. So this is the Rhode Peptide Glazing Fluid. I really like this as someone with a dry skin type. It's almost like a gel primer. Not primer, serum. And it gets absorbed into the skin really nicely. And I do feel like it actually leaves you with a little bit more of a moisturized, kind of like bouncy feeling base. And even though it's like that thicker consistency, I do really feel like it gets absorbed rather quickly. And Haley had said before that you can actually use this underneath your makeup or you can put it on top of your foundation. I haven't tried that yet. Maybe we'll try that today, but probably no, we won't try it today because we're gonna do a light coverage foundation and I feel like it might kind of disrupt that a bit. But overall, really liking this. I've been using it morning and night and I feel like it does give my skin like more of that like stickiness, which I really like since my skin is so dry. Now I also do really like the Barrier Restore Cream as well. It's actually not as thick as I was anticipating, so at night if I do use it and I'm having a drier skin night, I will layer this underneath a thicker cream. I have one from a French brand that I'm really liking right now. I'm just playing around with nighttime moisturizers, but overall the peptide glazing fluid and the Barrier Restore Cream pair really nicely together, and I feel like they also just look really nice for daytime when you're putting makeup on top of them. It's not super dewy or anything, but my skin definitely has more bounce, more plumpness. It feels a little bit tacky to the touch, which I really like. I have two lip balms to share. So Rhode has the Peptide Lip Treatment. This is really beautiful. It's really glossy. There's an unscented version as well as watermelon slice and salted caramel. There's also xylitol in all three of them. So they have a very slight sweetness. So if it does happen to get into your mouth, there's like a little bit of a flavor sensation in them. And then NARS released the Orgasm Lip Mask, which is really thick, hydrating, very moisturizing, great for if you have like a really chapped lip or, you know, just at night when you want a little bit something extra. I'm gonna use the Rhode one while we do makeup and you'll see it's so glossy and pretty. And I really like the soft touch packaging of the products. So they just have like that really nice kind of almost like rubber suede feeling to them, and then the peptide glazing fluid has the little slice in it, and then both of the lip balms have the slice as well. So Rhode, I've been using it for a little bit over a week, every single day. So far really great. Like I actually do feel like it's helping with the dryness around my eyes, corners of my nose, underneath my nose. I still have some visible dryness, but overall I think you can tell like my skin is slightly looking, you can see when I pull my hand away, there's like a little bit of stickiness to it, but I like that because it feels really nice and nourishing on my dry skin. So Danessa Myricks actually released a new illuminator. It's the Illuminating Veil for face and body. This one is in the shade Luna. I thought it would be the most complementary to my skin tone. This is like a really nice pearly champagne shade. It is so intensely pigmented, so what I actually really like to do when I'm using this illuminator is mix it in with a moisturizer just so it can kind of spread a little bit further. So I'll take a little bit more of that Rhode moisturizer and just use a tiny bit of this illuminator and just kind of like work it into my skin. But the nice thing about the Illuminating Veil is that it does have customizable coverage. So if you are somebody who wants like a little bit more of an intense illuminator, you can really get an intense strobe on the face. But if you want something that's like a little bit more sheer, you can see I just used a tiny drop of it and I feel like I get a little bit more glow. It still will peek out from behind my foundation, but it just won't be like so intense. So I did pick up the Chanel Water Fresh Complexion Touch. This is supposed to be a little bit more coverage than the Chanel Water Fresh Tint, which you know I really like. it definitely does have more coverage. The formula is similar, but a little bit more pigmentation to it. So I have the shade BD40, and I will do a little bit more of an in-depth review on this. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare it to the Chanel Water Fresh tint as well as the Rose Ink serum. So if you wanna kind of see how all of these products compare, I'm gonna test this one a little bit longer, and then I'll get into comparing them for you. So there is the product blending out. You can still see, you know, like my hyperpigmentation peeking out from behind it, but it is overall, you know, evening out my skin tone. So let's just put it on one side so you can really see this. I would say it still has similar wear to the Water Fresh tint, perhaps a little bit longer, but it still has that really nice lightweight feel on the skin to where you don't even really feel like you're wearing makeup. It feels much more like a skincare product. So I'll just pop a little bit under my eyes. We'll try to build up some coverage there so you can kind of see what it looks like even without concealer on. Now it does come with this little brush. It's different than the one that comes with the Water Fresh tint. The Water Fresh tint comes with one that's like a little bit more slanted. This one's more of a dome. I've used it a few times and washed it. I do like it. It's really soft, but it's such a tiny brush that I feel like it's good for touch-ups or like nestling the product into cracks and crevices or smaller areas on the face. But for overall application, I still feel like it's much like the Water Fresh tint, where it's just the same or better to just apply with your fingertips. So there it is blended out on one side. I do find that with the Complexion Touch, because it has a little bit more coverage than the Water Fresh tint, it takes a little bit more blending. Sometimes I'll notice areas that look not splotchy, but like I can just see a little bit more concentration of the pigment in the product. And so you do kind of have to really, you know, massage and buff it in a little bit longer. But overall, I feel like you can really tell it looks really nice and very skin-like, very hyper-realistic on the skin. It's also a lot easier if you pump the product onto the back of your hand and then massage it onto the back of your hand to kind of help mix those just a little bit before you actually go in with application. It's still a really quick, nice application, and I really like products like these where you don't need tools to apply them because you can just use your fingertips, and I do feel like that's how you get the best, most natural result. So this is one light layer of Complexion Touch on the skin. I feel like you can tell there's a noticeable amount of a little bit more coverage than the Water Fresh tint, which I actually really do like. I feel like because the product itself has more coverage and you're using less of it to get the same amount of coverage, more people might like this one. But despite being more coverage, it still looks really nice and natural. So if you're somebody who likes more of like a true, you know, skin-like looking product on your base, I think you will really enjoy the Complexion Touch. But like I said, I'll go a little bit more in depth on the Complexion Touch versus Water Fresh tint, and we will talk about the Rose Ink serum tint as well. I'm just gonna pop a little bit of concealer on. I'm using the one from Clé de Peau. So Chanel also released the Water Fresh blush. This is in the shade Deep Apricot, and I am like on the fence on whether or not I like this. I need to, you know, wear it more. I've worn it a couple times, but like it's a little bit tricky. So when you apply it to the back of your hand, you can see it gives you that soft watercolor tint. You really do need to work it onto the back of your hand to really get all the pigment beads popped, and spend a little bit of extra time with the product itself, because otherwise, if you're not careful about the way you massage it in, it can go on really patchy. But the blush itself does have that nice kind of watercolor effect on the cheeks. So I pick it up on a brush, and you don't have to work super fast, but you need to work somewhat quickly to get the product onto your face before it dries down. So if you've tried this and you've like perfected the application, let me know. The color is really pretty soft and sheer, and just gives you like a kiss of color on the cheeks, but you can see it does look really, really natural. So if you're somebody who likes more of a natural blush shade, or just like a natural blush application, you'll really like this. It's just, I feel like, I don't know, like it looks prettier on my hand sometimes than it does on my face. But overall, I do really like the shade I got. I need to play around with it more. I really also wanted to try the shade Warm Pink, but that one sold out before I was able to get it. So Deep Apricot, I think it's a good shade for like my skin tone. Okay, and honestly, the Water Fresh blush is like one of those products that grows on me the more I wear it, because now today I'm like, okay, it looks better than it did the last 2 times I've worn it. I feel like a lot of times I'm just not being careful enough with making sure that I'm fully mixing all of those pigments and getting them perfectly mixed together before applying it. But today I'm feeling like it actually does look really nice. So we shall keep playing around with it and seeing what we think about it. But overall, liking, but not like specifically loving, but not bad. You know what I mean? So also a really amazing base product that's a newer launch that I'm really liking are the Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. This is the cream product. And then the Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Perfector, which is the powder bronzing compact. So this one is in the shade medium, and then this one's in the shade medium dark. This one specifically, the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer, I think you can go a shade darker than you typically would, because the product itself is quite sheer and buildable. So it's a lot more sheer than a traditional bronzer. It's more like an all over warming base. I have blush on that hand, so you probably can't really see that swatch very well. But yeah, you can see it's more sheer than a typical cream bronzer. There's not quite as much intense pigment, so it's a lot easier to work with, especially if you're not really the best at applying cream bronzer. And if you really want something that you can more so use to warm up your entire base, this is really nice. And this is like, again, kind of like a little bit more of a sheer bronzing powder, very finely milled, very creamy, looks airbrushed on the skin, and you have the bronzer as well as the luminous powder gradient going on. So you can isolate either shade or you can really mix them together. And this pairs really nicely with the cream product because you can actually use the powder to set the cream in place. So I'll show you what I mean. I like to pick up the cream on an angled brush first, and I'll start around the perimeter of the face where I want, you know, the most intense pigmentation. You can see this is very natural, very soft. It doesn't even look, you know, like pigment on the skin. A lot of cream bronzers, you know, you can really see them, whereas this one's more so meant to mingle with your skin and your skin tone and really just create a very natural looking bronze on the skin. So it's a really easy to work with product. I don't really see you being able to botch the job with this product because it's so easy to use and it looks really gorgeous and soft and fresh on the skin. So you can see it's subtle, but you can intensify it if you'd like, but it's such a beautiful, just like natural skin warming product. So it is a bronzer, but it's more like a base warming product. Now, when I'm using the powder version, I like to take it on a fluffy brush, really swirl that brush in there, and I like to get a mixture of both of the shades. I'll knock off the excess, and then same thing, just lightly set down where I've placed that, and it's gonna help just the product from moving around. Not that it does, you actually don't need them both, but I do think that they pair really well together, and you can see just from setting that cream bronzer with this powder, I already get that really nice, soft, luminous pop on the skin without it looking like I'm wearing like an actual highlight. So honestly, the powder and the cream together, I feel like you can see, like there's just light popping off of all the high points of my face. It gives you this really soft, kind of like sheeny, angelic glow, but it doesn't look over the top. It doesn't look like I put, you know, highlighter all over my skin. It's just kind of like this light is naturally catching my face on the high point. So it gives you a very natural, realistic glow without emphasizing texture, and just like warms up the base in a really subtle, beautiful way. And then this is a glowing skin balm. So it's from Danessa Myricks. It's the Dew Wet Balm. I have mine in the shade Morning Dew, which is like a transparent face gloss with a soft gold pearl to it. I have had a couple instances where I felt like when I'm doing a little bit more of a full coverage makeup look where it will cause slight lifting. So it's, for me, not really working on more full coverage makeup days, but on days like this where I'm going for like a soft, sheeny, you know, you can still see my skin underneath the makeup type of vibe, it performs really well. So if you're gonna wear heavier makeup, I would suggest putting it underneath your makeup, and if you're gonna go for a lighter makeup look, you can use it on top. When you're actually rubbing your fingers on the product, you'll see it's a very emollient, creamy product. So I like to warm it up for a couple seconds in my hand, pick it up on my fingertip, and I'm gonna lightly press this right on the high points of the face, just with gentle pressure. This doesn't have quite as sticky of a feel on the skin as some other cream highlights do, but you definitely will feel it on your skin. It doesn't necessarily set down. So if you want to keep the glow of the product but set it down, I would suggest a setting spray versus a powder. And you can really kind of like cheat glass skin pretty quick and with less steps, especially if you use the illuminator and the balm together. So Clarins reformulated and repackaged their lip oils. I have 3 shades, and to be honest with you, I personally don't notice that much of a difference in terms of the formula. I think it's a little bit more oily versus glossy, and I think with my old Clarins lip oils, they're a little bit more sticky and tacky like a gloss, but these just feel more like other luxury lip oils. So I have 3 shades. I have raspberry, honey, and this is cherry. Honey is essentially clear. It's kind of like, you know, like a light golden shade, but there's honey. I don't really feel like it makes that much of a difference, but I do like this. I would just wear this type of shade with lip liner. So if you're looking for like, sorry, I dropped a wash rag. If you're looking for a shade that's gonna make your lips look different, honey's not the one for you. Now, raspberry is also pretty similar to honey in that it doesn't have much color. It's a very soft, slightly pink tint on the lips. I actually really like the fragrance of these Clarins lip oils. They smell really nice and fruity. Now, cherry is the one where you're gonna get the most punchiness from the oil. And it's still a nice muted shade. It's not overly bright. It'll still give you that little bit of color and tint without being like too bright. Now, I also want to talk about r.e.m lip products, specifically the liner and the lipsticks in the slim package. I will do a TikTok where I swatch all of them on the lips, because she also did come out with lip oils, a lip balm that kind of has a little bit of a shimmer to it, and then some liquid lipsticks. Did I just say that? She came out with a lip balm, liquid lipsticks. So I feel like I keep messing this up. She came out with these slim lipsticks, lip liners, lip oils, a lip balm that has a little bit of a shimmer to it, and then liquid lipsticks. So I'll show you all of those on my TikTok, but there's like, I feel like I want to talk about the one that I actually like and know that I really like. So this one is in the shade Attention, and it's a really pretty candy apple red. I'm going to use the r.e.m liner with it as well. The lip liner is so pigmented. So I also really like how the lip liners are twist, so you don't even have to fidget around with a lip sharpener. So I'm gonna put the Attention lipstick on. So this is the lip in Attention. It is so pigmented. All the slim lipsticks like this are incredible. The lipstick itself is really nice because it's ultra pigmented, so you know, one swipe and you pretty much get full opacity, and because it's so opaque, you're wearing less of the product itself, so it doesn't feel like heavy or sticky on your lips. This shade specifically also has a little touch of pearl to it, so it reflects back light, and it has the illusion of being a little bit more glossy, which I personally really like. It's not fully matte, but it's also not a shimmery red, and it's just a really nice, flattering, like classic red, summertime red shade. It's like the perfect accessory. I feel like red lipstick is always a really great go-to, especially if you just want something that, you know, makes your look a little bit more stand out-ish. So those are all the new launches I really wanted to talk about with you today, and just some newer products that I've really been liking, and I'm gonna list and link all of them for you in the description box down below. If you have tried any of these newer launches, I would love to hear your thoughts on them, specifically Rhode. If any of you guys have tried the Rhode Skincare yet, I would love to know your thoughts, especially if you have dry skin like me. I would like to know if you are liking it as much as I am. But other than that, I will see you in my next video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.